Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, did you see the Grammys last night? Well, I certainly saw the highlights, and I couldn't believe this. One of the singers, Kehlani, I think is how her name is pronounced. She's on the red carpet. She also got some awards. And before the show even got started, she was showing off her anti-ice pin. And here's what she had to say.
I really wanted to say ice, but I think they needed some couth on the carpet or something. I'm a little couthless, ruthless. But I think everybody, we're too powerful of a group to all be in the room at the same time and not make some kind of statement in our country. So yeah, it's brainless to me.
Well, she sure is brainless to me. Couthless and ruthless, that's for sure. And to go out there and say, I'm anti-ice, I'm this, I'm that, that's shocking to me. That's not what the Grammys should be. There's some great performers out there. I'm not going to take away from any of their talents. By the way, Jelly Roll, if you haven't seen it, you got to look at Jelly Roll's acceptance speech. It was amazing. Jelly Roll, who's now half of a Jelly Roll, because he's, I think, taking the shot or doing something like that. First of all, he looks great. I've always loved Jelly Roll. I've not met Jelly Roll. I would love to meet Jelly Roll. I just think he's fantastic. His songs that he has done, his life story is amazing. Coming from prison, literally spending time behind bars, talking about how he got saved by God. And he talked about that last night in his speech. He was incredible. So that was a nice, refreshing change because we had to listen to Bad Bunny and his bad words about ice. Listen to this. This is the guy who's going to be the halftime performer, who's a superstar. No doubt about it. He's from Puerto Rico. But here's what he had to say in his acceptance speech. He spent his time bashing ice.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say ice out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans. Also, I want to say to the people, I know it's tough to know, not to hate on these days, and I was thinking, sometime we get contaminados. I don't know how to say that in English. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So, please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love. We don't hate them. We love our people. We love our family. And that's the way to do it. With love. Don't forget that, please. Thank you.
And then he goes on to bash ice because they love. And then Billie Eilish, you got to hear this in her Grammy-winning speech. She's very talented, too. And she gave one for the record books. Listen to this one.
No one is illegal on stolen land. And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter. And I say sorry. Thank you.
No one is illegal on stolen land. So everyone's saying, okay, I guess maybe you're living on stolen land. You've got a big property there. Are you going to get rid of your home and have everybody take over? Because nobody's illegal on stolen land. Remember, they can take over your property, I guess, right? Everybody can just come to your home, right, Billy? Here is Scott Jennings on CNN with his retort. Listen to this one.
What does she mean by stolen land? Radical communists like Billie Eilish, who profits handsomely, I might add, from American capitalism, believe that America was stolen from the Native Americans, meaning that we have no right to enforce laws today, chiefly immigration laws. By the way, Billie Eilish lives in a $14 million mansion in Los Angeles on property that was once inhabited by the Tongva tribe. So far as we can tell, she hasn't taken any steps to return her mansion and surrounding property to its rightful owners, but we'll keep you posted.
That was a good line. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody, you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania on line 2. Go ahead, Joaquin, your thoughts tonight.
Good evening, Rita. Happy Monday to you.
You too, my friend. I hope you had a good weekend.
Yes, I did. The whole thing is this now. When you listen to these people, unfortunately, we have to start boycotting, and take away from them, because they've made it big in this country, and they have the vast majority of Americans to thank for their success. And believe me, most Americans, I came across some interesting poll numbers, okay? The amount of Americans that support actual mass deportation of almost everyone is from 54% to 73%, depending on what poll you look at. So the vast majority of Americans, we want to see our country secure. And unfortunately, I'm more hardcore than you, but, the vast majority of, at least the ones that came under the Biden administration, and were allowed to be flooded in, most of these people have to go, and so I came up with an acronym for both sides, okay? BS, the first letter of both words, BS. And I got a bibliograph, Curtis Sliwa, bull schnizzle, okay? Sure.
Right.
I have not a thing in common with anyone on the other side, because I want this country to be secure, and I want the illegal immigrants to be deported. And I'm sure that if we start deporting a lot of people, you're going to see in these blue areas, they're probably not going to have the success with the elections that they've been having and getting these Democrats voted in. And unfortunately, as it was being said earlier, these leftists like Mayor Frey and Governor Walz, they're not going to give an inch. So unfortunately, to give an inch to them, unfortunately, it gives them a win, and it gives them a way, they're just not going to do anything. So if it makes it look like they're winning a little bit, that's not good. And as far as these roadblocks go that they're talking about,
what did you make of that, Joaquin? They're actually stopping. They've created their own sort of citizen protests, and you hear them go, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were an ICE agent." Like, we're going to block you if you're an ICE agent. That's an amazing comment.
Rita, I'm sorry. If I was in charge, I'd already be down there. I would pinpoint. If I have to pinpoint, concentrate my quote-unquote troops into certain areas so I don't have to spread them out too thin, I'd have buses down there. I'd have tow trucks down there, and I would be mass arresting these people for doing this. This is just a real finger in the eye, and it cannot be allowed to go on.
Yeah, you can't have like jurisdictional areas. To your point, I agree with you, Joaquin. I mean, this is like rogue. And you think about, there are locations in France where it's been heavily taken over by like the Muslim community, and they're sort of considered autonomous zones. It's almost like I brought up the CHOP zone. Remember that when that took place in like Seattle? Remember during all of that, the Summer of Love. I mean, do you want like some crazy citizen in the neighborhood to decide who gets in and who gets out? And what are they going to do if they found an ICE agent? What would they have done? I mean, that's the other. First of all, how dare they set up roadblocks and act like they're law enforcement? Second of all, what would they do? What would they do if they got into one of these hotel rooms where an ICE agent was supposedly staying? Luckily, they've been booted from the lobbies every time. But they've gotten pretty boisterous, and often the crowds get pretty big. We're really at a I agree with you, Joaquin. I think we're in a precipice, and I think we're in a very dangerous precipice. And I'm praying for our country, my friend, because this is a tough time. There is no doubt about it. Joaquin, thank you. We always love your points and your great voice of reason, my friend. Let's go to Eduardo in Tampa, line 3. Eduardo, your thoughts tonight?
Yeah, good evening, Rita. I think the best thing that was said was by Ricky Gervais. Whenever you get a chance, maybe you can play some of his, where a lot of people have less education than Greta. I thought that was a good statement by him.
Yep. That was a good one. That's right. Yeah. Greta Thunberg. That's right.
Right. But if you get a chance, you could play Ricky Gervais because I think that's real good. Every time he talks, he's always got something funny to say.
By the way, did you see, Eduardo, did you see Bill Maher made some interesting comments? And he's often been a voice of reason with a lot of this stuff. He made comments before the night started and said, I hope you celebrities, and many of them are his friends, he said, I hope you do not use this opportunity to go political. No one wants to hear your politics. Focus on this. Now, Eduardo, what do you think this does to the Super Bowl? Because the Super Bowl is next weekend. Bad Bunny, who's always been, pretty much anti-Trump. It's not a surprise that he was making these sort of anti-ICE comments. But don't you think it's going to turn off some people? I was seeing like TPUSA, the Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization. They came out and said, we're going to do an alternative halftime with Kid Rock and some other people saying, quality. What do you think?
I was at the NHL outdoor hockey series yesterday because I was working it, and they had Tim McGraw in one of the periods. He just sang his songs, didn't say anything. He talked about his family. So there's your alternative. They should put Tim McGraw instead of Bad Bunny.
Right. The point is, I agree. The point is it's done. So obviously Bad Bunny's going to be there, but they knew when they picked him. I mean, that's the thing too, Eduardo, because it's not a secret where Bad Bunny stands. He's been bashing Trump and ICE and all that stuff, for a long time.
And one more thing, because this is about ICE too. 60 Minutes yesterday with Scott Pelley and Rand Paul. I think Rand Paul should ride along with some police department because these ICE agents and all these sanctuary cities do not have an umbrella. You know how the fighters in World War II, there was an umbrella so that way they were protected?
Yep.
That's what the local police department was supposed to be. They were supposed to be an umbrella, a cover for the ICE arrest.
Yes.
To keep away the protesters. And there's no umbrella.
By the way, I did not see 60 Minutes with Rand Paul. What did you think were the highlights for you?
Well, he definitely thinks he found the pretty and the good videos disturbing, and he wants Noam and Bobino, to testify. I mean, they did show the video where he was kicking the taillight. I mean, I'll give him that, but he didn't answer the question about why the police are not assisting the ICE agent. None of them answered that. I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole issue. You hit a great point because the reason, as you know, that CBP, the Customs and Border Protection, are in there and they're protecting them is because exactly to your point that nobody is there protecting ICE. So they're in there trying to take these people, and they sadly are sort of feeling like they're all alone. And then they got the angry mob. And as you know all too well, if the local authorities cooperated with ICE, then they could work out of the jails too. That's the other thing. They wouldn't even have to be necessarily on the streets. By the way, Eduardo, before I let you go, did you see this? That Governor Hochul and also Mayor Mondani of New York are coming out and essentially saying there will be no cooperation with local jails and federal law enforcement. I mean, that is downright dangerous.
Just like in L.A., Karen Bass, it's the same thing. Yeah, all the big cities, yeah. Same thing over there on the West Coast, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing, yep. Chicago, yeah, my former city, yeah.
Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Eduardo, thank you. We always love hearing from you.
Thank you very much, Rita.
You too. You stay strong and stay safe. Thank you very much. 1-800-848-9222. We'll continue, guys. After the break, you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, it'll be interesting. President Trump tomorrow meeting with the president of Colombia. So there will be a lot of doubt to discuss dealing with illegal immigration on America, also Venezuela, Cuba, and so much more. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Norman on line 5. Norman, your thoughts tonight. Did you see the Grammys?
No, Rita. I'm sorry. I'm really square, Rita. I haven't watched the Grammys for like many years, or it ain't for me. It just makes me angry when these guys get all political, and I just don't get it anymore, Well,
what's interesting? The Oscars, when they started getting very political, you'll notice that they ended up losing quite a bit of people because people were turned off. So I'll be curious to see what the numbers were for the Grammys, but it's such a turnoff, and the whole F this, F that, like everybody, it's like whatever happened to maybe you don't swear on TV? They think it's cool. It's like everybody's swearing. Don Lemon, I'll play a clip in a little bit, Norm, is swearing. It's like, can't you just say hello without using a 4-letter word, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, another thing that bothers me is that these guys are just like, there's no rebellion. They're tools of the establishment. Okay, and that's it. I mean, God forbid somebody would actually defend ICE on that stage. Oh my God, there'd be a revolution. So, oh my God, a person that doesn't go along with what we all believe in.
Yeah, no, you're right. And the sad thing is too, Norm, is at one moment, Trevor Noah talked about Nicki Minaj, and he did it in like a bashing way, like we're all here and Nicki's not. She's hanging out at the White House talking about some unimportant thing. Unimportant thing. She's done amazing work trying to help Christians who've been slaughtered in Nigeria, which is a lot more than I saw from the Grammys.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, this just coming out that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, the former president, former first lady, and secretary of state, have apparently agreed to do a deposition tied to their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The president and the first lady have always said they did nothing wrong, said that they've told the committee all they know, but they will apparently agree to sit down for his deposition with the House Oversight Committee and do it at a mutually agreed upon time. But that word coming out tonight and confirmed by Bill Clinton's office that they will indeed sit down for a deposition. There was supposed to be a vote holding the former president and first lady in contempt of Congress as early as Wednesday of this week. The president's office now asking Congress to obviously put off on that, saying that he and the first lady will indeed appear at a mutually agreeable time. Well, speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, Trevor Noah, who was the host of the Grammys last night, he also tried to bring up Trump and Epstein. The whole night was, we hate Trump, we hate ICE. And here is Trevor Noah, the host, who was just a little bit ago. I think it was Joaquin who said, bring back Ricky Gervais. After last night, I'm begging you to bring back Ricky Gervais. I'm begging you. But here is Trevor Noah last night taking a zing at President Trump.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it?
Wow. So here is President Trump responding to Trevor Noah just a few hours ago from the White House.
President, are you going to sue Trevor Noah? Last night in a post, you alluded that something could be coming.
Yeah, well, he said that I spent time on Jeffrey Epstein's island. I didn't. I mean, he's a lightweight. This guy, he's a terrible. I think he's terrible. I thought he did a terrible job at the Grammys. I thought the whole Grammys was terrible. I watched part of it. It's not watchable. But he was a lousy host. I'd say not as bad as Jimmy Kimmel, but pretty close. And no, he made a statement about me and Jeffrey Epstein. I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, if you look at the DOJ, they announced, they released 3 million pages. It's like this is all they're supposed to be doing. And frankly, the DOJ, I think, should just say, we have other things to do, because that whole thing has turned out, other than Bill Clinton and, Bill Gates and lots of people there are a lot of questions about it, but nothing on me. But it was even sort of better than that, because they found that Jeffrey Epstein and this sleazebag writer named Michael Wolff were conspiring against Donald Trump to lose the election. So Epstein was conspiring with a writer for me to lose the election. So right there, you know that I had nothing to do with this guy. But, it's a terrible thing. The amount of time that's being wasted.
That's President Trump saying this is ridiculous. I love how he said, he's a lightweight. President Trump, it's like he's juggling all these things in the world, but he still has time to watch, at least get highlights from the Grammys. And one of the interesting things, there was sort of a pre-ceremony dinner. And lo and behold, who appears at the pre-ceremony dinner but Don Lemon. Now, Don Lemon, only in Hollywood can you get a standing ovation for disrupting parishioners at a church service and being with people who were essentially calling them, white supremacists. Only in Hollywood does that happen. But Don Lemon walks in. He was in this event. I think he was invited to the event. And he got a standing ovation by everybody in the crowd, the Hollywood crowd, saying, bravo, we're so proud of you, essentially, for storming that church, for being in that group that stormed the church. Don Lemon says he was a journalist. We'll see where the case goes. It's going to be an interesting case. Let's see where it goes. But today, Don Lemon took to the podcast. Remember, he's a former CNN host. And this is what he had to say. He also used the F word.
So this is what I have to say. F off whoever you think is going to stop me from reporting. I'll say it off. If you think you're going to stop me from reporting, if you think that you are going to stop and diminish my voice, then you have as my grandmother would say, you have another thing coming, because that ain't ever going to stop. I don't care what you try to do to me. I am a journalist through and through and through. And I came from strong, sturdy peasant stock that built this country for free. This is my country through and through. If anyone deserves the freedom and the rights and the Constitution of this country, it is me, this little black boy from Louisiana that came from enslaved people who have not always and still don't always have the same freedoms as white people do in this country. So for all of you people who are so aggrieved and so upset that I had the nerve to be a journalist and to exercise my freedom of expression and my freedom of the press under the Constitution, too bad. Too bad. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, all right? So I just want you to know that.
That sure doesn't sound like someone who has anything in his mind to apologize for. Let's see where the case goes. It definitely will be a fascinating one. And he says he's going to fight it tooth and nail. But he was part of that group that went in, was aware beforehand. So there are a lot of layers to this case. But here's Congressman Randy Fine. And this is what he had to say about Don Lemon.
Can't imagine spending time in federal prison for any amount of time is a very good time. And he's going to go to prison. I mean, there is no question that under the law that Joe Biden used to arrest and imprison people who were singing outside of an abortion clinic, that law absolutely prohibits what was done inside that church. You cannot go into a religious institution and interrupt people praying because you want to have a protest. Can't do it. It's against federal law. So he's going to go to prison, and he's probably going to go to prison for a very long time. So hope it's worth being a victim, but I wouldn't want to be dealing with Bubba in jail if it were me.
That's Rep. Congressman Randy Fine of the great state of Florida. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Steve in Elmont on line 5. Go ahead, Steve. Your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. I loved the Grammys, the parts of it that I did see. I thought it was great. I'd like to, probably watch it again. I was mostly commenting about the police and ICE in New York. I think they should actually revisit the law here in New York, and especially when ICE is after someone that the NYPD, a precinct, arrest, sometimes even over and over again, and might even have a outstanding warrant for that person. I think it's really important. I think it'd be a good thing if we got that person out. This isn't just someone that has a little misdemeanor or maybe a little, something small, but there are warrants out that the police are looking for people, and if they do find you, maybe they should hand you over to ICE at that point.
By the way, Steve, I agree, and I think they absolutely should hand you over. I mean, think about how much easier it would be if it's somebody like you talk about that has some serious repeat offenses in their background, right? And an active warrant and a whole bunch of other stuff. If they make it easy and that person gets handed over from the jail, so they're not let out on the streets. I mean, who would ever let somebody who's been charged and convicted of something out on the streets, some serious crime?
Also, I think sometime I remember seeing when a tow truck has to go and tow somebody's car. Are the police, do they ever have like a sheriff or someone involved? Like certain people, I do think that you should have the local police who knows the neighborhood, who knows the people there and say, listen, we need to get this person out of your neighborhood. And if they work with the community, which I doubt that will ever happen, and we revisit this whole thing, there's a lot of people that, like, they're really causing problems in the neighborhood. And, people know who they are, but they're not going to rat them out. And we really do need them out the neighborhood.
I like your idea about somebody local, like a local police who are familiar with the individual or others attached to him. I think that's a great point, Steve. Those are really, really powerful points. I want to go back to, by the way, where you started. Did it bother you, all the anti-ICE stuff at the Grammys? You heard what I said. I'm one of those people. There are people out there. There are people out there who say, these people are not talented. They're very talented. I just wish they didn't get so political, but they're incredibly talented. But come on, stick to music.
So I'll tell you. So this is what I feel about this. First of all, I always think that instead of spending your energy on telling me what you don't like, spend your energy on telling me what you do like, because we might like the same thing, and we might be able to come together and unite and be more powerful on, hey, let's stand up for this. Let's stand up for that.
I love that. Yeah.
So the anti-ICE stuff, I don't think it's necessary. As far as Billie Eilish and Bad Bunny, they have their reasons because they've been in the news a lot about this. So yes, I do expect that from them. But lastly, one thing that I would say is I would like less entertainers to talk less about politics, and I would like less politicians to talk less about entertainment.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a good stick to your expertise. I agree, Steve. You and I agree. So hopefully other people can do the same. You're terrific, Steve. You got to call back again. You're awesome. Really wonderful to hear your perspective. Let's go to Michael in Queens on line 4. Go ahead, Michael. Your thoughts tonight.
Yes, hello, ma'am. Good evening to you, Rita. Longtime fan of the show. Thank you for having me on. It is an honor.
Thank you. It's great to have you on.
Thank you, ma'am. First and foremost, a word to begin my introduction, reprehensible. What do I mean by that? Our president, the great president that he has been from first term to this term, he has done an extraordinary job. I think that's irrefutable. I think that's indisputable. I think people only wish to try to chastise or cast aside upon it because they do not wish to accept the fact that for all the trouble that purportedly or supposedly he had done or caused or was alleged to do, he still surmounted and overcame to be in a position to do what he has done at this particular point, only 1 year into this second term. And I repeat that for people who keep saying his second term and the duration of it, we are only 1 year in. There is still time to go. There is still much to be done. But I will enforce this point. The severity of the situation. Time is of the essence. What I mean by that is the Democratic Party, which I have said on other shows and I'm saying on yours, ma'am, is not the Democratic Party. It is a radical front for a new religio-social base. It is deception, deceitful, and those are two fundamental factors for all warfare. I say this to you, ma'am. Where is the Republican Party? The last election, the one that gave us the illusion of a mayor, Mondami. And I said this on Dominic's show, it is his first trial as not mayor, but illusion of mayor. Because his heart is not there. His intents are not to salvage the city. It is to cause a dissension of the city so that it can be restructured and restabilized under a different accord. Dismantle to restructure is a foundation for all construction.
And by the way, Michael, and hold on, Michael, you got a lot of good points in there, but you're right. I agree with you about Mondani. He's clearly on a mission because even in the middle of, we were talking earlier today, you may have heard, and Dominic, by the way, also joined us on the 5 o'clock show and brought up some great points and talked about.
Always he does.
Oh, I agree. He's terrific. And we talked about how, look, it is freezing cold outside, absolutely freezing cold. And there have been 16 deaths of people outside. And Mondani still isn't changing his plan to dismantle homeless encampments. It's not nice to the people outside. I mean, whatever his philosophy. But your point is a powerful one, that this moment, I agree that this moment, it is a cohesive plan. And I have friends who are on all sides of the political aisle. Your point is correct. They do not recognize the Democratic Party, and anybody who speaks out, which is why I was playing those clips earlier, Michael, from Larry Krasner, the Philly DA, because John Fetterman is getting hammered by the Democratic Party for having the guts to say, maybe we shouldn't be criticizing ICE. Maybe President Trump's done a decent. How sad is that? So how do we turn this around real quick, Mike? How do we turn this around?
If I may, that is a prevalent point that you make, and he cited one of noteworthy merit. That is exactly another point I wish to actually state and speak upon. The Democratic Party, I say this, if there is one thing that upholds their task, which is now, again, as I said, a mask of a political party for what it actually represents, a new frontier for a religious base, the radicalization of the Islamicism, the Marxism, not Muslims, not Islam, no religion. I'm talking about the radicalization of that particular facet is what that party is now. So all the Democrats who are not fighting for honor, not fighting for nobility, not fighting for anything of any great accord for American way. They fight for their own selfish greed and gain. They do not fight for anything but their own position in power. When time comes, should the Democratic Party, which is the new radical party, should they actually institute themselves after the next elections, those individuals will be eliminated, terminated, and cast aside, just like every other item in history that has been pawns of the game. They do not realize that, but their place is only as good as to fulfill the task that they're there for. It is as Mamdani. Mamdani is the face of this charge. He is a scripted individual. He is only following what they have funded and what they have campaigned for him to do.
But you know, the problem is, Michael, and your points are great. The problem is there's a lot of funding and there's a lot of them. And they got a taste of somebody at the helm in New York. And I think they're going to, at least in the short term, they're going to try to keep going. So it's important that good people like you speak out, that care about the city, and that just say these policies are unrealistic. They don't make sense. And they're anti-Semitic. They're anti-law enforcement. I have so many problems with so many of the policies of Mamdani. Michael, you got to call back again. You are terrific. I really appreciate it. Everybody, we got a hard break. But first, we're going to support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from San Diego, California, where a 98-year-old World War II era veteran who spent decades declining recognition for his heroic military service finally accepted an honor recently during a surprise ceremony aboard the USS Midway. I have been there. That's an amazing ship and museum. I hope all of you get a chance to go see it. Veteran Charles Areza, a longtime San Diego resident, served with the U.S. Army's 11th Airborne Division in the Pacific Theater, and he helped rebuild Hiroshima under General Douglas MacArthur. Wow. For years, he turned down honors, insisting others were more deserving. During the ceremony on the museum's flight deck, the World War II veteran said, "I have never been acknowledged for anything, but I am enjoying this." The veteran enlisted in the Army in 1946 at the age of 19. Wow. How beautiful to be able to honor this member of the greatest generation. And of course, with his family members and others present. And everybody, help America to never, ever forget people like this great veteran and so many others. Donate just $11 a month to make an incredible difference. Be sure to check out the great Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And by the way, Roger Goodell, the head of NFL, just came out and he says that he doesn't believe Bad Bunny and Green Day, the band, will get political during the Super Bowl. He said last night clearly shows Bad Bunny is a big actor, big singer, a huge one, obviously, but he doesn't believe they'll get political. Let's hope not. Let's go to Liz real quick. Line one, Liz, we just have a few seconds. Your thoughts?
Real fast. It's so sad that these Hollywood celebrities have lost their way. They have to use potty language to make statements, to be in the limelight. It's just so unbecoming and ugly. And
I agree.
Can you imagine if all these celebrities making millions of dollars use their money and their voice for the
for the good. You're right. Don't use the F words. Use the inspiring words.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're thinking about changing schools,
Why wait? At Manhattan University, love those guys. You don't have to start over. With transfer-friendly pathways, your credits count, and you keep moving forward. From day one, you're part of Jasper Nation, preparing for the real world. And with New York City just a train away, opportunity is everywhere. Ready to move forward without missing a step? Visit manhattan.edu/transfer and enroll today. Manhattan University. Don't start over, move forward.